So you should have watched 2 videos already this week before you come to this third one. Make sure you watch them in order. First one is the perfect passive verb. The second one is ablative of agent. And now you can watch the third one because we practice forming the perfect. We practice changing English from active to passive, and now we're going to practice in Latin, changing active to passive. So let's take a look at this first sentence. Omnem Italum cibum amavi. I have loved all Italian food. Okay, that's what it is in English. So the first thing we're going to do, it's the same thing we did last time in the English, but now we're going to do it in the Latin. Locate the accusative, and the accusative is all Italian food. So this whole thing is the accusative, and it's accusative singular. All right. Now, change the accusative into the nominative. So what we're going to do is we're going to just simply change this whole phrase because it's got some adjectives with it. Italus, cibus. All right. So now we locate the nominative. So there's no separate nominative because there's a verb and an accusative. But of course, what do you remember? If there's no separate nominative, the nominative is in the verb. And the verb in this case, it contains the pronoun I. So we're going to change the nominative into a prepositional phrase with the ablative. And so if you remember, it's and it's not, what do we have to do? We have to pull it out. And the nominative form of I is me, and it's me in Latin. And then we're going to make the verb passive. So we take this amavi. So we've already got omnem Italum cibum. Then we take the verb, which is amavi, and we have to make it passive. So it becomes, now, we got to look now. We have to make it passive, and it's perfect passive, remember? So it uses the fourth principal part, plus a form of the verb to be. And cibum, right? So I have loved all Italian food. So we're not going to make it match. It has to do the subject. It is not going to match the accusative singular. It's going to match the nominative. So amavi has to modify I, right? Because I'm the one that's doing the loving. And I, last time I checked, was female. So I'm going to happen to make the verb passive, and I'm going to put it in its feminine form. So if you look at the fourth principal part, is amatum. Okay, it's amatum, and it's the fourth principal part. So I'm gonna take the amat, and then I'm gonna add my a because I'm feminine, and then I'm gonna add the first person singular because that is I. So it is feminine, first, singular, and perfect. Now, everything else stays the same. And look, we've highlighted everything, so there's actually nothing else. There's nothing else to change. So it becomes omnis Italus cibus a me amatasum, which means all Italian food has been loved by me. All right, let's try another one here. We're going to do 3 of them to give you some practice. And I will let you know that in your homework this week, I have done this in the answer key, so if you get stuck with all these steps, you can figure out which step that you made a mistake on. All right, next one. All right, let's take a look at a second sentence. Milites iuvenem pugnare draconum optererunt. The soldiers chose the young man to fight the dragon. First step, we're going to locate the accusative, which is young man, iuvenem. So here's our accusative, and it's accusative singular. Now we're going to change the accusative into the nominative, and when we do that, we have the word iuvenes. Now we locate the nominative. It's nominative plural, and it's milites, and we change the nominative into a prepositional phrase with an ablative, step 4. So that becomes a militibus. Okay, now we take the verb. Where's our verb? Way over here, and we're going to make it passive. So here's the trick. The new nominative young man is singular. So you have to change the verb from plural, opterunt, to singular. So opterunt, when it becomes passive, so we're going to have it masculine, third, singular, singular, and then it's going to be perfect. So it becomes, and masculine, so optatus, and then our third, optatus est. So everything else stays the same. So this whole pugnare draconem, we don't touch. We just put right back into the sentence, and what we end up with is Iuvenus a militibus pugnare draconum optatus est, which is the young man was chosen by the soldiers to fight the dragon. All right, one more, and I think that you will have enough practice to do your homework. All right, Regina Romana potens opes ocopiassa senatorum capiet. So the powerful Roman queen will seize the copious riches of the senators. First thing, what do? Locate the accusative. What's our accusative? Opes copiosas, and it's accusative plural. Then we change the accusative into the nominative. So we're going to write that right here. Opes, so we've got it for later. Copiosai. Now, locate the nominative. Long nominative here. Nominative singular. The powerful Roman queen. And we're going to change the nominative in step 4 to a prepositional phrase with an ablative. So I'm going to write it right here, and it's going to be a rege Romana potenti. All right, make the verb passive, and our verb that we have here is, capiet. And capiet is third singular future, but our new nominative riches is plural, so you have to change the verb from singular to plural. So we're going to do third future plural, and that becomes capienter. Everything else stays the same. So what's left of the senators, right? Of the senators, that's genitive plural. We don't touch that. It will get transferred into your new sentence exactly as it is. So what we end up having is opes copiae a regi Romana potente senatorum. Here's that word that stays the same, senatorum capienter, which is, now remember, accusative becomes nominative. The copious riches of the senators will be seized by the powerful Roman queen, and this is what tells us that it's passive, and it's an ablative of agent, as we just talked about in the last video. Okay, again, everything in your homework, because this can be kind of a tough thing to remember all the steps. On your homework, if you get stuck, I have done this not on a video, but on paper that walks you through every single step. I think that you work through it, and you'll understand it by the time you get done with your homework.